So we had a kerfuffle there. We're going to try this again. I'm going to get you once again to describe who you are. Even though most people do know who you are already, we'll get you to do it again if you don't mind. Okay, Jen.
Sure, my name is Jen, and I'm an animal rights organizer in Kitchener-Waterloo. So I do all sorts of activism, from street outreach to vigils to undercover investigations.
I am David. You might know me as the 40-year-old vegan. As well as Jen, I'm an organizer in Kitchener-Waterloo, so I do things like Anonymous for the Voiceless and other street outreach as well as investigations.
Thank you. Kirsten.
Hi, I'm Kirsten. I am also from Kitchener-Waterloo. I am an organizer, one of the 3 organizers for AV Kitchener and also We the Free Waterloo. I have done many street activism and outreach all over Ontario and also in the UK with AV and We the Free as well.
So we're going to start from the beginning, and that is with you, Jen. So how did you decide to do this? What was it that made you decide to start this event?
Yeah, so it all started about a year ago. During lockdown, I was going a bit stir crazy because I wasn't able to do my regular forms of activism. And I felt like I really needed to do something for the animals, and that's when I started to do undercover investigations. And what I was faced with in these horrific places was absolutely devastating, and I felt like I needed to expose this on a grander scale, which led me to take a large interest in Meet the Victims actions and other sorts of lockdowns and direct actions and civil disobedience actions.
And was there, I didn't ask you this before, but was there something specific that made you want to do this event?
Well, I had seen events like it before. I saw the Meet the Victims event in BC. I wasn't there, but I saw the video. It was really powerful. It was really impactful. And I wanted to do something like it. I've seen Meet the Victims events all over the world, and it just seemed so inspirational to be with that many people that care that deeply for animals that they're willing to risk everything. And it also has a profound impact on the general public because it normally gets a lot of media attention. So I knew that we had the numbers here in Ontario and beyond to pull something off like that. And I wanted to make it happen.
And David, how did you feel when Jen told you this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I thought she was crazy. To be honest, I think originally when I look back at my own kind of the way I went about going vegan and when I was not, and how scary I thought that was, and then moving to doing actions or vigils or organizing, and I can't say that it was wrong to do. I mean, I was really inspired by Amy Serrano, who did one of the only one prior to this in Canada, and so she really lit a fire under me to get active and to make a big impact. I mean, we could do the day-to-day thing, but something like Meet the Victims, like Jen was saying, it inspires so many, and if you can reach the media and the masses, that's the whole goal of it, Yeah.
And Kristen, what did you feel like when she told you?
I wasn't shocked in the slightest. This is exactly something Jen would do. She has always been a leader, always taken on organization roles, and I know that how passionate she is about this movement. I know that her heart is really in this, and that this is a big action, and if anyone was going to do it, it would be Jen.
The pre-action meeting on Saturday, I thought went really well, right? There were so many people that showed up. Like I'm from little old Alberta. When we have an action, we have a maximum of 15 people, right? So to see all these people come together at such a huge event, like it was amazing to see. So Jen, tell me how you felt that day.
Yeah, I felt really excited, really happy. I honestly couldn't believe how well the pre-action meeting went. I was a bit nervous about it beforehand just because there was a lot of setup and a lot of little minor details. But once we were there and everyone worked together, it was so beautiful to see so many people come together for this action, for the victims, for animal liberation. So it was really empowering, and yeah, it just made me so much more excited for the event.
Right. Like just to see everything that you've worked so hard for come together on that day, right? That had to have been an empowering feeling for you.
Definitely. Yeah, there was a lot of time and energy and a lot of time and energy that went into the event, and leading up to it, it was a bit stressful and chaotic, but then once we were there at the meeting, it was like, okay, everything's good. Like, we're all here and this is gonna work out.
Yeah, it felt like that too, for sure.
Yeah.
It really did. And David, what about you? I know you were all over the place.
Yeah, I was,
right?
Maybe just a little bit worried how people would, be that day, just making sure they felt comfortable. And I know like there was a lot of stress for some people to maybe worry about potentially going in for an action or something like that. And maybe for some people it was their first time doing an event. So, but overall, like just seeing everyone come together like that and how well it was organized, like I was just I'm a pawn, but it was just so meticulous on how, and also as well as like having these powerhouse activists, like I couldn't believe it. Like
right?
it's just surreal. It's like a magical time that you're gonna keep with you for the rest of your life, hanging out with all these people, meeting these wonderful people and their stories that they have and how much they've inspired people to fight for the victims, and that lights a fire under all of our butts, collectively. So
Yeah, it really
it
does.
was a great experience. Yeah.
And Kristen, what were you doing on that day, on Saturday?
Well, I was helping set up.
Yeah.
I was a bit worried about how everything was it was a bit rushed, I guess, or just there was a lot of uncertainty about how it was going to go.
Even where we were going to set up was a little bit hazy there for a bit, eh?
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, outside you just never know. And so, but it went really great. Like everyone just came together. Everyone who showed up was like, how can I help? What can I do? Everyone just came together and made it happen.
Yeah.
Just instantly. Didn't even have to ask. And that's what just this team does, this community does. They just know they have to get stuff done, and we all work together to do that. And yeah, like they said, it was just so amazing meeting so many different unique people from all over, coming together with a common goal in mind for animal liberation. And we were all putting ourselves at risk, and we were uncertain of what was going to happen, and even what the event was. A lot of us didn't know, but it didn't matter because we were all there for the victims. We were all there for the animals and the oppression that's happening, because we know no matter what, there's nothing more important than exposing this truth, and we are all willing to risk everything for it. So it's amazing that I do that.
Absolutely. Very well said. Okay, Jen, let's talk about the day. In the morning, when you woke up, right? Pumped, ready to go. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so we woke up we didn't wake up, we didn't sleep.
Yes, exactly.
So we rested for a while, and then we finally opened our eyes. And when Kirsten and I are in my bedroom and on the second floor, we're just talking, getting ready, and we look outside and we see a car that stalls in front of the house and then drives away. And we both kind of looked at each other like, is that what we think that is? And we're like, no, it's just someone lost or something. And then I'm messaging Amy, and Amy tells me that the meeting location has been compromised. There's a security guard there that's telling people they cannot park there because of an accident. So it's very clear to us that someone has leaked information. The only people that knew about the meeting location were in the Signal chat. So we told the Signal chat, stay tuned, we are not meeting at that location, we'll be meeting somewhere else. And we're loading up the car, finally ready to go. Bridget was also with us. We didn't actually even know her beforehand. She was just someone that was attending the event that needed a ride there. So she stayed over at our place, and Kirsten and her were gonna go in her car, and Dave and I were gonna go in his car. So Kirsten and Bridget are still kind of getting sorted, and Dave and I are ready to go. So we get into the car, we close the car doors, And once Dave starts the car, someone opens the car door and grabs him and says, "You're coming with me, you're being under arrest." It's very dark. We can't even see this person really. They don't identify themselves as Waterloo Regional Police or anything like that. I'm so shocked. I grab my phone. I'm trying to get the camera on what's happening, and he knocks the phone out of my hand with his other hand. One hand's on David. Knocks the phone out of my hand, and then someone else opens my car door and says the same thing to me, that I'm being put under arrest and that I have to come with him. And he's grabbing me. He doesn't give me a chance to exit the vehicle. He immediately grabs both of my arms. And I really wanted someone to videotape this interaction. It just all happened so fast that I wasn't even sure if these were police. I was so spooked. And so I started screaming for help, hoping that Kirsten or Bridget would see what was happening and videotape the interaction. And I finally get pulled out of the car and thrown on the ground, and I'm on my knees, and he's telling me to get on the ground. He's screaming at me to get on the ground. I finally go flat onto the ground, where I'm just flat facing the ground, and then he puts handcuffs on me, and we're all detained after that.
What about you, David? How was that for you?
Yeah, so that day, we obviously didn't sleep much. There wasn't much sleep actually for a few days prior to, just because it's a big event, and we care. We wanted to go as well as possible because we know people are traveling from all over the world, and so I think I was just I might have caught a half an hour of sleep, and these guys even had to knock on my door to get me up. So I was just in drone mode. I was picking up whatever needed to go to the car, because we had some lights and stuff, and we wanted to make sure people felt comfortable at the event. And so I was just doing that. I was putting stuff in the car, waiting for us to get going. And so eventually I shut the trunk, and I get into the car, and I start the car, and then I kind of, out of the side of my eyes, I see these lights, these weird lights, and it's so dark that why would I see any lights? And I thought maybe Kirsten or Bridget had a flashlight on to see something, because it's dark. And all of a sudden, I look over to the right, and it looks like Jen's door is opening, and just as I do that, somebody's grabbing my arm and says, "You're coming with me." And I'm pulling my arm back, and he's yanking on me to get out, and he kind of leans over me, and I think that's when he might have smashed Jen's hand there. And then he pulls me out, and then he said, "You're under arrest, you're under arrest." And I started to realize it was the police, because I guess intuitively I thought it must be the police if somebody's yanking me out of my car. But why would anybody yank me out of my car and not say, or knock on my window and say, "Hey, can we talk to you?" Something as simple as that. But I went down, I didn't resist, but this guy kept going in the car. He told me to get down, but then he pushed me down, and then he said, "Stay down," and then he sort of went towards Jen, and then I heard Jen saying, "Get off me, get off me." So intuitively I went to grab the cop, and if I had not taken the training the day before, I promise you I would have grabbed the cop. And so it's just instinct at that point, right? Because your friend's getting harassed or hurt by somebody, and you don't even really know what's going on because it's too dark. These officers could have very easily said, "Hey, we're Waterloo Regional Police. We want to talk to you. Oh, by the way, you're under arrest." And as I was on the ground, I said, "We're all peaceful. We're not resisting. We're peaceful activists. We don't do that." And
You said that to them?
yeah, I said, "We're peaceful. We're not resisting. What are you doing?" And I just felt so helpless with Jen over there and Kirsten and Bridget over there. It's just a helpless feeling. I couldn't believe it happened. Yeah.
That sounds really helpless.
So
Scary.
I was the last one out of the house.
And you were with Bridget, right?
Well, Bridget had already gone outside. Everyone had left the house, and I locked the back door. I came out the front and locked the door. I didn't know that anything was happening, and then I go around the side of the house, where the parking spot is, and a police instantly comes up to me and says, "You're under arrest." And I had a moment. I was like, okay. And I dropped my stuff, and like, I don't know what they thought it was, but they were worried that I dropped something, but realized it was nothing. And then, yeah, I just like realized what was happening. I saw Dave on his knees and Bridget beside me getting arrested, and she looked really shocked as well. I was really worried because I couldn't see Jen. I did see that there was a police, on the ground, and yeah, I figured that that's where Jen was, and I was worried because I couldn't see her. I just didn't know what was happening to her, so I was pretty scared for her. But yeah, I accepted the situation pretty quickly because there wasn't anything I could do about it. Right. I was like, okay, this is happening, and it's gonna be okay. And
it still sounds pretty terrifying to me.
Yeah, it was. It was just really shocking. I just none of us expected that to happen.
Right, because you expected it. If you were going to get arrested, it would have been at the event, right?
Which I was prepared for. I was prepared for that to happen, and I even said to Bridget, because she was worried about getting arrested, I was like, it's okay, you're not gonna get arrested. Like, out of everyone, no, not you. And she did, and she was just caught in the middle of it, yeah, it was just really shocking.
I'm really curious, Jen, how did you pick this particular farm? How did you pick Hybrid Turkey Farms for this event?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely wanted to pick somewhere that was big, somewhere that was more commercial. And I actually had this particular idea to do a turkey place because I was kind of mapping it out in my head of, I guess I had this idea a while ago, but when I was starting to put it into action, that was in the spring. And I was thinking, it would be great to do a turkey place because we could do it around Thanksgiving and before Christmas dinner, and try to really change hearts and minds and try to show people exactly who they are eating. So hybrid turkeys just happened to be near where we lived. And that just happened to be the place we chose because it was very large. And once we had, investigated hybrid turkeys, we came to found that they produce they supply 60% of turkeys that are in the grocery store in Canada. Globally, and 90% in Canada.
I didn't know that. 90% in Canada?
90% in Canada. So they are the largest turkey supplier breeder in the world.
That's an absolutely perfect location. How much research did you end up doing?
Tons. We had to do lots, and it wasn't discovered until sometime after that they had been exposed in 2014 in a Mercy for Animals undercover investigation. That wasn't found out until a bit later once we had decided on that place.
Really?
So that was just kind of the cherry on top because once we saw what had happened there, it was terrible. It was atrocious. The violence that was occurring there, workers were breaking turkeys' spines. They were choking them, beating them with shovels, and they pled guilty. And then they were charged a mere $5,600.
That's pathetic.
So, and we saw what had happened, to these individuals, like what you're seeing on that poster there. That was taken very recently at Hybrid Turkeys, and it's clear to us that they have not cleaned up their act and that these turkeys live in horrendous conditions.
Did you help in any of the investigation, David? Was that all about Jen?
Well, I certainly brought my experience to the table, I think. I'm not sure if whoever's watching is aware, I used to be a federal meat inspector, slaughterhouse inspector, ag inspector, whatever you want to call it. And so I was pretty much well aware what happens in this industry and the way these animals are treated. My time in animal health, I saw a number of investigations that took place, but they never went to court. They were just thrown into filing cabinets and thrown away. So when you talk about hybrid specifically, and you look at what they've done in the past, and you see that they haven't cleaned up their act, and they're only going to be fined $5,600 when Bill 156, you could be charged $15,000 just on a single entry. We think that goes against our fundamental freedoms and rights and expression, and we're willing to challenge this. And I do think the authorities put a ton of resources. I think the agriculture minister or whoever it may be, put a ton of resources into making sure that we didn't go on that property. So I ask you, if it's not good enough to view as the general public, and you have to put a bill in order there to suppress the rights and freedoms of people, then what is really going on? And so if a former federal inspector, professional federal inspector, witnessed these things going on during his tenure, it really has to make you think about what these companies are up to. And so I would say definitely this industry is heavily subsidized and looked after by some bigger works.
What do you think, Jen, the significance is for you, like, to have this event? I think it's a crucial time to have this event with Bill 156. So did you have that in mind as well when you were planning this event?
Yeah, definitely. So when Bill 156 was introduced, I was very persistent and very vocal in saying that this is not going to deter activists, because all of us here, we know that this is the right thing to do. And what is happening to animals is an injustice, and just because it is protected by law does not mean that it is moral. So all of us that know that, we will risk everything. We will challenge the law to make sure that these animals have justice. A bill is not going to stop us from doing that. It was already against the law to not go into these places and not expose what's happening, which is ridiculous, because that means that there's no transparency in our food system. Now it's against the law for people that work there to expose what's happening, for anyone to blow the whistle, any media, anyone. So basically what this bill is saying is that we want zero transparency in our food system. We don't want you to know at all what's going on. So yeah, that was definitely in mind in planning this action, is that we're going to challenge Bill 156. Just by coming together at this place, we are challenging Bill 156 in itself. And although we were not able to physically challenge Bill 156 in the sense that we were not able to go inside the barns, we still showed them that we're not going away and that we're just getting started.
So with that being said, you're just getting started. So we aren't going to stop, are we? We're going to keep going. There's going to be another one eventually. And I want to ask, have you learned anything? I know it's only been a few days since this event, but have you learned anything on how to be more secure, or have you decided on how to do anything differently?
Yeah, I can't say that I've firmly decided on anything. We're definitely still all processing what's occurred, but security was definitely an issue, and it's definitely something that we have to take a closer look at and reconsider. I've had many ideas kind of floating around that I'm not going to share right now. But yeah, security culture is going to be a lot better in the future. And that's going to be, it's always been very crucial for events like these. But now that we've seen, what kind of measures they are willing to take, whether that's an infiltrator, whether that's surveillance, they're willing to go very far to protect industry profits. So yeah, we definitely have to change some stuff up.
Yeah, because I'm literally blown away at how many police officers were there. Like, if anything, I expected maybe a cop car or two, but I seen a minimum of 25 officers on one side, and then I and my drivers went to the wrong side, and there were cops on the other side as well. Yeah, so Yeah, there were cops on the other side.
So and then it would have taken probably about 6 officers to take us, or maybe more, and then maybe more to bring in the others into custody. So if you look at, it's a Sunday, this is double time for these officers, our tax dollars. So it's very suspicious, and something that we're just trying to allow even whistleblowers, somebody who works in the industry, to be able to speak out and say what's going on. Now, the minister claims they have PAWS, the PAWS Act or whatever. They have inspectors that will go in. These are always announced audits. As far as I know, they're always announced audits. And regardless, they're still innocent living sentient beings living in sheds, monstrous sheds, in ammonia-filled sheds. It's disgusting, and it's got to end. And like Jen was saying, like, this isn't going to deter us. This is going to only make us stronger, and we're going to continue on. If you saw all the wonderful activists out at this event, at the police station, posting online, all the media attention that we got, it's only going to continue. And we've received so much praise and messages from so many people, even people that you might not think would praise you. And there was a gentleman who actually got a tattoo of what of our shirts say on the back with the Martin Luther King quote. So it's wonderfully inspiring, and it's only going to continue to grow for sure.
Yeah. You know what? Even a police officer, apparently, she pulled in and someone was talking to her, and she is vegan, and she was saying that she was largely affected by this.
Yeah.
So I know, like, it's a lot of police officers' jobs. Like, they're just being told what to do.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's not necessarily that they agree. And what I learned in the training on the Saturday is when people are nervous, they act out in aggression. So when they were arresting us and the aggression used on Jen and David, it's out of nerves, and uncomfortability and unknowingness on what's going to happen. So it wasn't even that the police were necessarily comfortable with this situation going on, but they're forced to do it because that's their job. So,
and does that kind of helps you feel better about the situation, knowing what they're going through as well too?
I think having empathy for anyone is a good thing to have, because it's easy to just blame other people and just to kind of think about how what the situation is in your own mind, but you don't know what someone else is going through. And ultimately, it's the big corporations we're after. The police are being funded by these big corporations. It's not like the police are just acting out on their own to, protect these corporations. They're being paid by them. So whoever, police might act unlawfully, and that is wrong, but ultimately it's these corporations still being in business from people paying for animals that is keeping everything alive, even the police brutality, even all the wasted money on surveilling us and, all the resources. So ultimately it's only going to end when people stop eating animals.
Now you have conditions. Tell me what's happened with the arrest. I need to know what is going on with you. What is your next step? What do they want you to do next?
Yeah, so it's a bit different for myself, Amy, and Nick compared to Dave, Kirsten, and Bridget. Because the three of us live together, we're still allowed to interact, but all three of us are not allowed to make any communications directly or indirectly with Amy, Nick, or Bridget. Amy and Nick are together, so they can make contact with each other, but none of us as well. So that condition is through and through with everyone. For Amy, Nick, and myself, we've faced a bail hearing, so the conditions are a bit different. Our conditions are that, and then we also are not allowed to go near hybrid turkeys in Bright, Ontario. And then we have a court appearance, all of us, on November 17th. And yeah, I'll let Kirsten and Dave tell you about their conditions.
Well, we all got charged for break and enter, with intent to commit indictable offense, right? Which is ridiculous. So our conditions, mine, Dave's, and Bridget's, so we're not allowed to go within 500 meters of a farm or any livestock or whatever. It's a bit arbitrary. Jen actually got that condition before, and the court threw it out because it was ridiculous. And again, not allowed to communicate with each other, and
I think that was it. Really, it's 500 meters within any farm, livestock operation, anything that deals with food. So my thinking is like, I can't even walk out of my house because there's a zoo down the street. There's a grocery store over here. Who knows if I'll drive by a slaughterhouse truck? So where does that lead us, right? So when we have these vague interpretations of the law, and I really felt even the officers didn't understand, and that's understandable that they didn't even understand because we can't even understand it, right? So they're trying to enforce these laws that have ridiculous consequences. And if you look at other industries, can you imagine if we had some of these laws dictating that we can't do that in other industries? People would go mad. They'd go crazy. So 500 meters away from these places, which again goes against our fundamental freedoms of expression.
The police even said, I said, so I live in Waterloo Park, which is right near a zoo, and the offense, and he's just like, oh, well, that's okay. It's like, oh, well, that's okay. So what else is okay?
So it's whatever they interpret to be.
And are you still going to arrest me because it's not written down that it's okay, but you told me? So it's all
That's a dangerous condition.
Exactly.
So I think it's important that when we go to court or we're represented, that there's a thorough discussion that goes on with the judge and our lawyers to ensure that we're not breaching our chartered right and freedoms.
Did you guys have, I know on the day before, everyone was told to write down the lawyers' numbers. Did you guys already have those numbers written down?
No, so we brought a bunch of Sharpies, and we were all going to write them on the bus. But honestly, that's just for kind of safety more so. Okay. You can always get legal representation with whoever you want, as long as you know their name. Then the police can look it up for you and give them a call. So that wasn't an issue.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm still amazed that, was it the next day that you guys went to Dutchie?
Yeah. So we were just kind of talking. We were all just angry because this had been building up for so long, and we were like, we're going to do this major action, and we're going to shed light on this terrible industry and show just the atrocity in this farm. And that didn't happen. And we didn't even Kirsten and Dave, I guess, did a little bit get to participate in the event. I didn't get to participate in the event at all because I was in the jail for 15 hours. And then by the time I came out, it's like I'm so exhausted and I just have to leave. And I had to leave because Amy and Nick were coming out and I can't interact with them. So I had to go. So I didn't even get to participate. I didn't even get to wear the shirt. And I was so upset about that. And I was just so upset that we didn't show what was happening to these victims, and I wanted to be there with them. So we're talking about this and we're angry, and Kirsten said, well, why don't we go outside of Sobeys and have signs and outreach people? And I was like, why don't we bring the TV and show what's happening to them as well? So then we're like, okay, let's do it. And we knock on Dave's door. We're like, okay, you want to do this? And he's like, okay. So then we all go to Sobeys, our local grocery store. And we're out there, we have some good conversations, whatever. And then my cousin actually comes up, and she's actually donated to my legal fees. So she's in support of our cause. She gives me a big hug, and she's like, you guys should go to Dutchie's. They sell live turkeys there. I used to work there. So we're like, okay, let's go to Dutchie's. So we go to Dutchie's, and we're out there for a while. And Kirsten had a really powerful conversation with a worker there who his girlfriend was vegan. So yeah, it's important to keep standing strong. They're going to try to knock us down plenty of times, but you have to keep getting up, because it's not about us. It's not about how we feel. It's about how they're feeling. And we have to do something because we have the ability to do something about what's happening to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to add on, yeah, I think a few people were disappointed that it didn't work out the way it did, but it worked out in a different sense where there was a lot of confusion, when none of us were there and no one knew what was happening. everyone still came together and made it happen. You know, I think like a strong sense of unity happened in the community, and it bonded us in a different way. It still would have bonded us, but you know, everyone worked together to make it happen still, and to voice themselves. And even realizing how much police resources were going into this, even like with us arrested and possibly being like watched and everything, like so that is now a topic that people are talking about. And it's like they went through all this, didn't even want to charge us with Bill 156 because they were so scared of us even going on the farm.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah, because they could have caught us there,
Yep.
red-handed, you know, but they didn't. They caught us before it happened in hopes to disrupt the event, and hopefully it didn't happen, because they're so scared of it being exposed.
Yes, because they could have actually made an example out of you guys and charged you with Bill 156, let you enter and made a whole, but then they would have been able to show.
Exactly, but then we would look at the merits of Bill 156. You're going to charge however many people, if they do go on the farm. Let's say, you know, Bill 15, say 100 people go on to the farm, and everyone gets charged $15,000. More than Grand Theft Auto, I'm guessing, right? Can you imagine?
Oh my.
And the company, so they're trying to criminalize activists who are just showcasing what's going on with their food system. Like, here's a camera, this is what's going on with your food system. I don't even have to say anything about it, right? They're trying to criminalize us, but they're not criminalizing the people that are doing the abuse and continuing this ridiculous industry on.
Yeah.
So $15,000. Hybrid got charged $5,600 for a clear-cut case of animal abuse.
That's it,
So an activist stepping on a property, showcasing what's going on. Yeah, we see what's going on. We all know, right? It's collectively, it's common sense at this point.
Yeah.
But I honestly think a lot of the officers and maybe the police department didn't want to have to go through that experience because they would have been embarrassed.
Right.
You're gonna give a young woman a $15,000 fine
For just sitting there and recording
for
something.
caring for animals.
Yeah,
Yeah, how would that actually look when it hit the news, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, in the end, it's still a massively successful event.
Yeah, it's just not in the way that we expected.
No,
But we're still shining light on the industry. There's still going to be more footage released of hybrid turkeys. And
I was going to ask about that footage. Where is this footage coming from? A whistleblower?
undercover investigator.
Cool.
So there will be footage to be released of that farm that everyone was at that day. So that's still going to come to the forefront. We didn't do wrong by the animals. We still are able to show what's happening to them. Mm-hmm. And not only that, we're able to demonstrate how much they don't want us to show the truth and all the measures that they're willing to take to prevent us from doing just that.
I think when we all heard, when we're all sitting in the car and we got that text, we're all waiting and we're waiting. And we're like, what the fuck is this? Isn't right. Something's wrong, right? And as soon as we found out that you were arrested and Jenny McQueen came in and took over, we're like, that's it. We're still going. We're like, we got to go. We got to do this for these guys. And that's what we did. And it made it even more powerful because you guys were arrested, right? And we were doing this not just for the animals, but for you as well, to show you that it was a success. Didn't matter that you guys got arrested and beaten to the ground. They didn't beat us to the ground. We still made it. We still did it. So we have to say thank you for that. Absolutely. Like you, an inspiration, all of you, to like, I came here because of you, right? So to be a part of something like this, everybody else who joined felt exactly the same way, that it's something that we will never forget. Even though I didn't get to sit, I wasn't going to go in anyway, but just because that didn't happen, it didn't take away from anything, right? It made it even more impactful for me. So thank you, all of you, for that. Okay?
Thank you for joining
absolutely.
us. Yeah.
I want to know, is there anything that you want us to know? Like, we want to help you. Okay, because I know that you guys have legal fees. Is there somewhere that we can go to help you with that?
Yes, so there's a GoFundMe page. It's linked in the MTV live stream that occurred that day, the many live streams. It's linked in there. We've also shared it on our own personal Facebook pages, and that will go towards everyone, the 6 of us that are facing legal fees. So if everything is resolved on that one court appearance, we're still each looking at least $2,000 just for that court appearance each.
Yeah.
And then not only that is Nick, Amy, and myself have to cover a bail hearing, which is around $1,500. So it's very expensive. If we go to trial, it's going to be even more than
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So if you would like to support our cause, please do that. Please go on to the GoFundMe. You can even search GoFundMe Meet the Victims Canada, but you can also find it on our pages. And
I will put up a link as well. Yeah,
yeah,
no worries.
right.
So I'm gonna close it off. I'm getting a little cold. I don't know about you guys. Just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, you're smart.
You just can't move.
Yeah, that's called old age. But I want to know. Because you are also inspirational to me. I want to know, what would you say, each of you? I'm going to ask each of you. What would you say to someone, a vegan out there, who's not doing anything, who's just sitting on the couch, who's cheering you on, but still not doing anything? What would you say to that person?
Thank you for not participating in this massive injustice that's occurring. However, if you are not doing anything to stop it, if you are just simply not participating in it, then it's going to be a lot slower for us to end this. Obviously, if you're vegan, you don't agree with what's happening to animals, but you need to do something to stop it. You need to stand actively against it, just like you would any other social justice issue, whether it's racism or anything that is an injustice. You need to stand against it. So it's really important to do any sort of activism that you can, whatever resonates with you, but do something. Even if that's just sharing stuff on social media. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, but you have to do something for the animals, because we all need to work together to make this a time in history.
Yeah, and I mean, Jen said it perfectly. I don't know how much more I could add on to that. It's looking at yourself as the victim. I mean, if you were in that position, how would you want people to defend you, and how would you want people to stand up and stick up for you? It's very easy to just sit and be a bystander, but it's not very easy to be in a shed or a gestation chamber or a crate. We're all earthlings. We're all here together in harmony, and we should be living in that. Veganism is a philosophy. It's not a diet. And I implore people that are on the fence about activism, or maybe if they've ever thought about it, one post, one conversation, one movie, do something that you're good at. I mean, we have artists, we have musicians, we have all sorts of people in all these different categories. It's very easy. You can check out other vegan activists, see what they do. You know, it's very simple to get out there, and it doesn't take much to get active. And I promise you, like the community we have, like, you will be affected by the community. You'll grow a community. We're all like-minded people, and we all think the same, and we just want the best for the earthlings. So get active. Yeah.
Thank you.
Speaking from my own experience, I can't even begin to describe how activism has changed my life and me as a person. I never, ever knew or thought I would be capable of what I am now, and that is only because of activism. It is easy to stand back and support from the sidelines, and I think all of us have a bit of fear of changing someone's mind, or a fear of judgment from other people. But when you think about the animals and what they have to go through, you not saying something is an injustice to them. And if you look inside yourself and just keep challenging yourself in different and new ways, you won't be able to imagine the strength you have inside of yourself to be able to stand up for them, and you don't even know what you're capable of until you try. Look at what we're all doing. Like, I don't think any of us maybe thought we were capable of this at one point, but we are, and everyone is. Everyone's a leader.
Very well said. I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I know you guys have had a lot going on over the last few days, so taking the time to sit down with little old me, so I can show it on my little old YouTube channel. I really, really appreciate it. I mean, coming from Alberta and seeing you guys in person is like, it's like this fangirl experience, right? Like, I see all these big stars. I'm like a little kid sometimes, so I really do appreciate you guys seeing me today and talking with me. And I hope to have it up as soon as possible when I get back. And if there's anything else you'd like to say it now, because I'm going to close off here.
We appreciate you too, and everything you do. Like, your that's a form of activism of what you're doing. You know, you're probably outreaching so many people. You know, and it doesn't matter. Like, they can tell other people. It's not just your viewers. So thank you for what you do as well.
You guys are so welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's get warm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.